Hello! It is the middle of the week. Quite, not quite. But I am back from California and I had an absolutely amazing trip there. And I again want to thank everyone who helped support me during February. It was very roller coastery, but I ended up having one of the best months of my life, and I'm so grateful for all of your support and love and everything. And it was really great to share everything as it was happening, but I also have so much that I learned and that I'm still processing and that I want to share with you and give back and create resources for. So, this is the start of that. This is just a little beginning tidbit. I actually got sick when I got back. My body was like so high with adrenaline still, and it didn't make it very easy for me to be in touch with the fact that my immune system was actually really low and I got sick. But I am pushing through and feeling better today, and at least enough to take a walk and to get dressed and make this video for you. So I want to do a couple quick things before we get into this. One is that I did a leap day sale while I was out doing the tiniest leap day parade ever with Joe. We dressed up in blue and yellow and went down the street with a sign and balloons and bubbles and stuff, and it was really great. There's pictures on my Instagram if you want to check that out. And while I was doing that, I made a flash sale that I actually have not taken down yet, and it's still relevant. So if you are watching this right now, I'm going to take it down at the end of the day today because it's the 3rd. It was only supposed to happen on the 29th and 28th and 29th. But if you want to take advantage of it today, you can. It's $38 for the entire year for the Uncustomary Babes, which is 40% off. So it's $3 a day or 10 cents a day. It's a really amazing deal. You get access to Facebook and or Teachable, like both, whatever you want. If you don't like Facebook, if you don't want to use it, you still get all the resources listed out in categories. It's very easy to use and navigate. But yeah, you can, so many people have been taking me up on this deal because it is amazing, and I'm probably never going to have it this low. If anything, the prices are going to increase per month because of the value. So, yeah, take advantage of that $38 one-time fee for 365 days of magic. So, yeah, I also want to remind you that since now we are in the beginning of March, you can still get your uncustomary planner if you have been procrastinating on that. It's never too late to get a planner. It's okay to have blank pages, and you can also use those for other journaling purposes. There's a really great podcast that Sarah of Mindful Productivity blog just put out about how it's okay to be imperfect with planners, and I'm going to link to that in my Instagram stories later when I show you how I've been using my planner. But I just want to show like the beginning pages for March, and you can see that's the color for March. It's a little more teal than the screen is picking up, but that's kind of the theme for March. And every month has affirmations that have a bucket list. There's journaling prompts, a calendar overview. There's an unusual holiday every single day. There's a weekly challenge every single week. There's self-care check-ins every week. There's weekly happiness lists. There's end of the month check-ins for top 10 things. There's end of the month journaling prompts of check-ins. There's so much really good stuff in here, and people are loving using their planners, and I love mine too. So if you haven't done that, please check it out. I put in the notes here of the video the links to the membership that you can get for $38 for 1 year that's ending today, and also how to link to get your planner. And also, I just want to let you know that you don't have to get it from Amazon if you don't want to. I recommend doing that just because it's already bound and it's just easier to use that way. But you can also buy it in chunks as a PDF, on Etsy for very cheap. So if you are on the fence and like not sure what it's about and how it looks, you can go onto my Etsy, which is linked through the planner thing. There's two options. You can say buy on Amazon, buy on Etsy, and you can just decide what months you want to buy and get like this season. It's in 3-month chunks. So yeah. Okay. Let's get into what I want to talk about today. Okay, so while I was in LA, the first night I didn't do terribly much. I was exhausted from traveling, but the second night, Friday, when I was there, I went and met Gabby Rosie from Bad Bitch Affirmations. Yeah, she's amazing, as you would think she is. And we made plans previously before I went out there to go and see Russell Brand live, who was just there while I was out there. And I actually got to meet him and hug him, which was really great. And we saw this really great performance. It wasn't comedy. I mean, like, everything he does is very funny because he's just a miraculous human being. But it was actually about spiritual awakening and how that intermixes with addiction, which has, been a big part of his story. It was very great. And he said a lot of very profound things that I still need to unravel, process, and digest in my own way that I would like to then give to you. But one of the big things that stuck with me was something that I've been talking to a lot of people about, and I want to talk to you now about it. I just made an Instagram post about it, and I linked it here, which is just a little bit of it. And I mostly linked it here, so if you want to comment or grab the screenshot of it, or share it in your stories, then you can. Joe designed it for me. And he said, we started talking about representation. And, representation is extremely important for anything. I mean, when someone doesn't see someone of their skin color, their gender, their body type, their whatever, doing the thing that they want to do, or having the career that they want to have, or whatever it is, like when we don't see ourselves reflected in the media, on social media, in the career, whatever it is, it makes it feel a little further out of our grasp. Share our stories for people of every age, gender, skin color, religion, sexual identity, like everything, to talk about what's going on, their struggles, their stories, their triumphs, their everything, so we can see ourselves reflected. And then realize that, oh, it's not out of my grasp. They did it, and I can do it too. And really, even without their representation, the goal with self-love and self-worth is to know that we do have that inside of ourselves without representation. People without social media have been creating amazing lives for a long time, but I think it's really amazing that this new generation is coming up, with all of this representation, and it's really powerful. I think there's a lot of other things that go along with that, like feeling like you need to be on display and all that like stuff that goes along with social media. But that said, I think, when we see ourselves reflected, it can be really powerful. But what about that for other things, not just for our body type, not just for our skin color, not just for our career, not just for our gender? What about seeing representation for our worldviews? What about seeing representation for society? What about seeing representation for how we would like the world to be, to feel, to look like, to progress? The thing that Russell Brand said on stage that night, that really, really, I didn't even need to write down because it just, whoo! He said, why is it so easy for us to make so many damn movies about the end of the world? We have so many movies about the apocalypse, zombies taking over, viruses taking over, a few people being left, the people, going after each other and starving for resources, and all of these things that make it so hard, because it's the world ending. War, famine, disease, villains, monsters. Why is it so easy for us to see the end of the world, the apocalypse? But how many movies can you think of off the top of your head that are about a utopia, that are about dismantling the patriarchy, that are about taking over corruption, that are about making heaven on earth, that are about heaven, that are about a beautiful place, that are about wonder, that are about just feeling good for fucking feeling good? Probably not as many off the top of your head. Even if you're not into horror movies, apocalyptic movies, anything like that, you can still probably think of stuff because it's just so in the culture. Walking Dead, zombie movies, all those Will Smith movies where he's the last one there. But like, how many movies can you think of where there's just like a utopia? What if we had all these writers and directors and producers giving us their depiction and perspective on what it would look like when everyone was happy? Now, there is something to be said for the fact that maybe people are pitching these movies and nothing's happening with them because the people in power, the people with money, the people that give the green light for these movies are saying no, because we have, as my friend Lee told me, something called, since like the 80s, doom something. I can't remember what she called it. There's a term for the fact that like we crave this horrible conflict and violence and doom. And if there's not this horrible dynamic of conflict and gore and violence and something that needs to be overcome in a really big way that's aggressive and doesn't feel good, then it's not going to sell tickets. So they're like, well, yeah, that sounds really pretty, but who the hell's coming? We already are having problems with piracy, so who is going to buy a ticket to like this like beautiful landscape where there's not actually a problem? There still can be a problem with a utopia, I must say. If everyone is, has the same stuff and is satiated and happy, then there becomes no competition, right? So then it becomes about a journey of the self. So there's still stuff that we can do with that, but the point is, why is it so much easier for us to imagine the end of the world instead of a world where we're happy and we're not starving, we're not struggling, we're not hustling in a way that doesn't feel good? Why? Because that's what's represented for us. That's what people are identifying with. That's what we're seeing. Let that sit. What if the things that we started consuming were purely to make us feel good? Art is best done when it conveys a feeling. One time I was in a snowstorm. I was stuck in a house, and the people I was with were like, hey, do you want to do a hit of acid and watch The Wall? I'd never seen The Wall this is the first time, and I was doing acid for one of the first times in my life. That was horrible. The Wall is a really, really intense movie meant to evoke emotion, and acid intensifies all emotion. And I cried for forever. It was very horrible. But the point is that The Wall is a piece of art, and so is every movie, so is every writing, so is all Creativity is art. And the point of it is to evoke an emotion, a feeling. And the wall did that for me. It wasn't a pleasant feeling, but it did a thing. So what if we started consuming things with the intent that the feeling that we're getting out of it, we know, is going to actually make us feel good. It's going to make us feel whimsical. It's going to make us feel awe and wonder and inspiration and happiness. Why do we need violence and aggression and conflict to enjoy art? If you enjoy horror movies, apocalypse movies, whatever, that's legit. It's another genre. It's your preference. I'm not telling you not to watch them. I don't personally like them. I actually have my own reasons for that, that deal with my mental health. But I am just encouraging you to think about why and what you are digesting, the feeling that it is creating in you, and why you enjoy that feeling. If you enjoy a piece of art that creates a feeling in you, that's awesome. I love that. But wouldn't you prefer, or would you prefer, to have that feeling make you want to make more art? To walk away and not feel like you need to like sink away into another room and cry? To not ever want to see that image replicated again? To not feel triggered by that movie? To actually want to go do something that helps the world or yourself instead of feeling down about what just happened? I know that a lot of people aren't like me and can very easily separate reality from fiction. When I watch a movie, I immediately am drawn in. I immediately identify with characters, and I become engulfed in pretty much every experience that I have. And I identify with characters, I identify with the experience, I am sucked in. And I know that that is me, and that's not everyone. And you can very easily, probably maybe for you, be like, this is fiction, this is actors, that is fake blood, that is, a thing. But still, I ask you, why do you want to witness someone being hurt? Why do you want to watch something violent? Something that you wouldn't want to experience in real life? What is that doing for you? And I genuinely want to know. If you're watching this and you're like, nope, standing firm. I love watching horror movies. I love watching violent movies. I love watching action movies where innocent bystanders get hurt. Tell me why. I want to know. I genuinely want to create a conversation. Maybe we can talk about this and I can understand it better, or other people can understand it better. You can also enjoy both. You can have a lot of favorite different kinds of movies. I just want to encourage you to think about why you like the things that you like and the things that you want to consume. So when I made this post on Instagram this morning, I had another person comment, and they said, I actually really like the examples you gave, and one of the examples that you gave, I like to channel that main character when I'm doing this thing. And I was like, that's a really great example, because like, when, like for inspiring movies and people that we look up to, whether it's fictional or not, it's really great to be able to channel their energy and imagine like what would they do in the situation, and when you're doing something that maybe you don't enjoy or you're struggling with, you can be like, okay, what would Pippi Longstocking do, right? And then you do that thing and you feel inspired. But is it easy to do that when you're like having a hard time, you're struggling, you're thinking about the ethical thing to do, you're having a hard time, and then you're like, okay, what would Dexter do? Like is that the same thing? Like it's harder to channel the inspiration from a villain. Just a thought. So, as I promised, I'm going to end this rant, which is not really a rant. I'm just trying to plant a seed and see if you identify with this this idea, and if you are interested in reframing the media you consume, or reframing, or at least inspecting why. And now I am going to give you a list of 25 movies, which include 2 documentaries and 1 show that I've been watching recently that feel really good to me for different reasons. They are not completely devoid of conflict, but they are inspiring to me for one reason or another. And this video is already 20 minutes long, so I'm kind of just gonna like go through them. And if you want to get like a piece of paper out, then that would be probably to your benefit if you are interested in consuming movies that make you feel good. So here we go. Number 1, which is my favorite movie of all time and does have subtitles, so beware, it's worth it. And it also makes you more present, is Amelie. It's all about just like simple pleasures, wonders, and kindness. I also like the movie Yes Man. It's about the idea of like saying yes to life and boundaries also. Pee-wee's Big Adventure, very feel-good, very childlike, very playful, and also more awe and wonder. Big Fish, whew, that is some magical, wondery, whimsical stuff. Lots of beautiful, beautiful cinematography as well. Matilda, that when she is channeling her magic and realizes what she is capable of, and listening to Send Me On My Way by Rusted Root, and she's got like all the cards in the air and like everything, and like also overcoming like all these obstacles in the movie too, is like really, really inspiring. A lot of these movies are also meant for children, I would like to point out. Not all of them, but a lot of them. And I think that's very interesting that we make inspiring things that are all producing for children, and then we stop the same way that we do with play. Speaking of which, the next one is Harriet the Spy. I love, love, love how passionate she is about something at such an early age. I think a lot of us can identify with that. You know, she like wants to be a writer, she wants to be a spy, and she like has all of these things like, and she's just going out and making it happen at a very early age. Sweet November is an interesting depiction of the manic pixie dream girl, which I've written an article about in defense of the manic pixie dream girl, because I identify as one, not in a bad way. I think that like it is really ridiculous that like it always needs to be a woman. And usually that it's with the intent to progress a male character along. But that said, there's nothing wrong with like this character and the tropes that come with her, or him. I think that Ben Wyatt in Parks and Rec is actually a really great manic pixie dream guy. That, you know, like sometimes when in a relationship, like there can be one person that kind of like, is the dreamer, you know, and there can also be 2 dreamers. There's no rule against that. There's a whole episode in Modern Family, actually, where they talk about the dreamers and the reality and how there can be a balance in that. But that doesn't mean that both people can't have both elements. But either way, Sweet November is really cool, and just like a lot of just like free living, free spirits. I talked about Pippi Longstocking. The New Adventures of Pippi Longstocking is a really, really good one. She does whatever she wants to do. She literally flies. So she's actually made of magic, but it's just really, really empowering. And just to see a young girl be so empowered and like, I don't need anyone's permission is really great. Elf is technically like a Christmas movie, but like seeing Will Ferrell's character when he is walking through Manhattan for the first time. I want to live with that level of optimism where he like sees the sign that says, world's best coffee, congratulations, and he's just like seeing everything for the first time with new eyes, because he literally is, but then he still stays there and he still sees with the sense of awe. That's really inspiring to me. Garden State can be kind of like, watch this one with a little bit of caution because there is a lot of grief and death in it, but like I think that, you know, through grief and death we can also see so many lessons and be reminded of our mortality and our impermanence, and that can be actually extremely beautiful and liberating. Moonrise Kingdom is a really, really beautiful movie, and it's Wes Anderson, and it is also about children and their journey to just like kind of escape, but like only because they feel maybe a little bit trapped and they want to do what they want to do, and they're just like, I'm doing it. I don't need your permission. I'm going. Forrest Gump, pretty classic. It's a pretty long movie, great soundtrack, and I love the way that they like made so many cultural things a way that like, you know, like when it looks like Forrest Gump like taught Elvis how to like move, the idea that like we don't technically know that that didn't happen, right? Like, or something like that. I love Forrest's innocence and just unconditional love. Another one is Princess Bride. So many people love this movie, and there's a reason. It's very, very funny, and it's just pure. I think there's just something really pure about Princess Bride, and God, very funny. Inside Out is like Pixar, so it's like animated, and it's like about the way that we utilize our brains, our minds, and like having a balance and treating each emotion that we have with care and dignity, and realizing that like fear or anger are not bad, they're just another part, and it's really, really important to recognize that, and I love that they're teaching that to kids. Life Size 2, not Life Size 1, not the one with Lindsay Lohan. This one's on Disney Plus, and Tyra Banks is still in it, and she is not aged. This one's actually like really, really amazing. It's really progressive. There's like bisexuality. There's like almost no white people whatsoever. It's awesome, and it's just really fun and like really, really good messages for young people, and just give it a try. I know I was kind of like, and then I was like, oh shit, like it's really good. The Birdcage is one of my favorite movies ever. Robin Williams, and oh my god, why can't I think of his name? The other, God, the whole cast, dear lord. It's so funny. It's campy. It's everything. Robin Williams in a mustache is the only man I want in a mustache. And just like the jokes and the dramaticness and the everything, the costumes. Ferris Bueller's Day Off, really classic one. Just making the most that you can out of a day, soaking up every ounce of a day that you possibly can. If you need some inspiration for that, that is it. P.S. My favorite scene is when they're in the museum and that music is playing and they're all looking at the pictures or the paintings. E.T., this one just came back on my radar. It was on the TV at the hotel. The end is pretty bleak. I forgot how scary that was. But in general, that movie is really, really fun. I tweeted that my favorite part of E.T. is when E.T. does stuff. E.T. is wholesome as shit, and I love him, and I love everything he does. Everything is just so fun, and like, again, seeing everything for the first time because he's a literal alien, and I love it. I love it. I love it. Big with Tom Hanks, where he grows up into an adult overnight, and then just like has like the idea of like a kid becoming an adult and having all this access to funds, and like what you would do with that money, like what your younger self would do with a job money, and like getting this like giant apartment that you install a trampoline in, and then bunk beds, and like then getting a girl over and being like, okay, well, here's like your gift, and like you sleep in the bottom bunk, and like the scene where they're jumping on the trampoline and her dress, god, I want that dress. Okay, a goofy movie, I love that movie. Just like connection between dad and son, dad and child, and the road trip, and they do go through struggles, but ultimately, like, that soundtrack is amazing, and they have, like, a really good time, and I don't know, you've probably seen it, I love it. Eat, Pray, Love with Julia Roberts, and based on the book, which is also good, and everything that woman has written is fantastic, and it's just about, like, going out on your own, and, like, literally just going to a different country to do a different thing, and focusing and being mindful and working through your fucking shit. It's really important. And the last movie is Hook. Again, Robin Williams, one of my like favorite childhood movies, and like reclaiming your sense of play, wonder, and awe. A lot of themes running through this. And like the scene where they eat and there's nothing in the bowls, and then they have to imagine. I actually recreated that right after Robin Williams passed. I had an event where like we went to the park, and we made the icing in the bowls, and we threw it at each other to have a food fight. It's on my blog if you want to find it. And there's 2 documentaries. I plan on doing like a whole other post about like inspiring documentaries about like inspiring and eccentric people. I've been watching a lot of documentaries lately, and I want to save that. But there's 2 that I want to share with you. One is like my favorite one of all time. It's called Antics Roadshow, Antics, not Antiques Roadshow. It is about people who do weird, wonderful, wacky things in the world, from street art to performance art to installations to trespassing to just weird stuff that's happened in the world. And it's a documentary, and they just like interview people about weird things that have happened. And We Cause Scenes is the documentary about my favorite group, Improv Everywhere. When I do the No Pants subway ride, that's who does that, and this is their documentary. And then the last thing that I want to suggest to you is a show that I have watched. I started watching it on the plane home from LA, and I finished watching it yesterday. And it is 1 season. They just got renewed for another season. It's 10 episodes. They're about around a half an hour, 20 minutes to a half an hour long. It's on Hulu right now, and it's with Kat Dennings, who is gorgeous, and the characters are all very diverse, and it is very feel good. It's actually based in LA, and it's about like creating sisterhood and like what happens when you like leave, when you get sucked into a relationship and then you come back into the world, and creating really good connections with people, and like unconditional love and what that means, and then like the struggles that come with friendship, and but like also it's like super surreal when she's thinking about what's going on in her mind. It's like there's like a woman with a cat head, and like when she thinks about like having a hard time, like the floor will open up, and there's like all of these like really cool, surreal, almost bordering on absurdity things that happen in Dollface, and I really recommend that show. So those are the 25 pieces of media that I recommend to you if you are interested in feeding your brain with positive, influential, inspirational, feel-good, whimsical, wonder, awe-inspiring entertainment. There's 23 movies, 2 documentaries, and 1 TV show. So make the choice this week, if you feel so inclined, to only ingest, or to at least ingest 1 feel-good thing. And then to maybe journal or think about why you haven't been, or you diverge to another thing. I know that some of my favorite shows are It's Always Sunny and Arrested Development, which are about like horrible people doing horrible things. So why is that? Why do I enjoy watching that? So it's something to think about. Again, remember that the Uncustomary Babes membership is currently still $38 for 365 days. That's going away tonight. So check that out. Link is over here, and you can still get the Uncustomary planner either the entire thing on Amazon or chunks, like 3-month chunks as PDF downloads on my Etsy. The link is also in here. I am so excited to bring you more videos, and not all of them will be public. Lots of them are going to only go into the membership group on Uncustomary Babes, which is available on Facebook and on Teachable. So if you would like some more self-love, positivity, and personal development resources in your life, you can get it for $3 a day or 10 cents a month by signing up today at uncustomary.org/membership. I am so excited to be able to bring you all of my inspiration and resources that I have just bursting at the seams with after this trip to LA, and I love you. I love you. I love you. I hope that you are having an amazing week, and let me know how you feel about this, what you're thinking, what came to mind for you, and what movie you intend to watch. A movie like you're like, oh, I forgot about that movie, or another movie that you think is really feel good, because I did not get to all of them. There are more than 25 pieces of media that are inspiring, and maybe what's inspiring to you is not inspiring to me or someone else. So give other examples here in the comments. I would love to see what makes you smile. I love you. I hope you have a great day. I'll talk to you later.